Okay.
All right, well, we can go ahead and get started then. I hear you laughing. So, yeah, we left off with Nola having just been brought to the grove by the two elf boys, and I think, Mitty, you were sort of waking up and looking around and dealing with the realization with the two Zoans, right?
Uh, realization. Oh yeah, that my presence is slowly freezing the tree.
That's what you're deducing, anyway.
Yeah. And my touch makes it go faster. Because apparently Mitty has the touch and the power.
Touch.
I should also probably turn on my voice mod. 1 second.
So, Cal and Vanali, as you guys have returned to this spot, the grove is thankfully about the same size you left it. It hasn't grown even more expeditiously in the past 24 hours, but you are also probably caught off guard, maybe as much as Nola is, even by the weird winterization of about half of it. Um, for having just come up from a Jerasai, it is a strange moment of deja vu as you two seem to see like a part of the Whitewood transported to the surface.
Well, this is quite different from how we left it.
Uh, yeah, you could say that.
Any particular explanation, or are we still figuring that out?
Uh, well, we've managed to deduce that I'm somehow involved in this.
Well, that stands to reason, I suppose.
But as for the how, I have guesses, though none that I'm too confident of.
So, looking at the new arrivals, Mitty and Conray, you guys see. Conray, I think it's your first time seeing her. There is a smaller and less feral looking Mitty, brown female bear person that is wearing sort of green and natural colored robes. She has just a simple unadorned sort of like shepherd's crook that she is walking around with, and she's just standing, flanked by your two companions, and she's looking around, wide-eyed at the grove and seemingly a little like terrified. She'll just peep up from behind you two elves and say, "Oh, I see why you wanted me to come."
Yeah, about this. Maybe he'll kind of scratch the back of his head. It's kind of a long story.
Uh, um, the details of which I'm sure can wait. Have you figured out what's causing this yet? Maybe we can purify it.
You mean the frost?
The this corruption, if that's what you mean. Oh, it must have followed you from the underground.
Uh, followed is one word. Well, what's It's an easy way to break this. Well, I guess we'll just rip off the bandage. We kind of met Winter and sort of befriended her.
Make an insight check for me, Mitty.
Okay.
Okay.
The dice have spoken.
So you say this, and you're not entirely certain what reaction maybe you were expecting from this apprentice Grove Tender, but certainly the vibe you're getting is not what you expected. As she almost doesn't seem to be paying you as much attention as you might have, I don't know, figured. She's starting to kind of walk, around the trees and sort of meandering through the grove with sort of a unfocused look in her eyes, and she just says, "Well, really, we must. There's got to be something we can do."
Well, that's kind of why I brought you here. I guess. Well, it's not like I was trying to keep this hidden, but I guess we owe you the truth. Well, I owe you the truth. I'm kind of groan a bit and scratch at his chin. I'm not with the clans.
She's walked up and is kind of. She has a hand laid on one of the green tree trunks in the grove, and she's sort of stroking it tenderly, kind of seeming to look deep into its bark as if searching for something, and you're not sure if she's finding what she's looking for or not. And still, her back is to all of you now. She's not looking at any of you as she says, "Yeah, you were exiled, and none of you were supposed to be here."
Ah, so you did know. Okay, that saves a bit of explaining.
I didn't when I asked you, but when I went to the Seat of Summer, the Grove Tenders explained who I had led into Jerasai.
Oh, they. Huh. They remembered me?
They were quite agitated, having sensed the loss of Audra.
Oh, that.
There is some extra news on that front that I didn't want to share in mixed company, but we were able to save her soul.
That makes her turn, and she looks back at you, Venali, and say, "Is she in the grove?"
We were told that that's where she'll be put as soon as, all the corruption is removed from her.
She gets a little firmer in her demeanor, and you see her nod, and she starts. She's kind of veering off from you guys now. She's moving towards the very center of the grove, sort of still looking around, determined to move to her.
Well, anyways, if you're curious about what happened here, I was planning on bringing you back Audra's ring. But, it kinda got out of hand.
Say that again.
She's found the heart tree now and is sort of inspecting it, sort of weaving her head around and looking at it from different angles. And those of you with better hearing will just hear her muttering, "Corruption's even in the center. Maybe we can burn it. That will help."
Is that really necessary?
Why are you calling this a corruption? Forgive my ignorance.
Kind of scratch the side of her face. This energy is not, it doesn't belong in the cradle. It's vile and she seems at almost a loss of words to express how much it is affecting her, this being here.
From our understanding, it originated from the cradle and was forced underground.
Well, that is not the way of the Grove Tenders.
How much did you know about the Arakai before you had the unfortunate circumstances of meeting them face to face? The real Arakai.
My master told me of monsters beneath the surface and the dark powers they worship, and everything I saw confirmed every word she said to me.
Did she mention why they became such monsters?
Greed, jealousy, hatred for those of us that get to walk in the sun while they don't.
Maybe we'll look at the knowledge.
No, there's no sense hoarding the knowledge.
I see we have fallen so low as to censor our own knowledge, then.
You watch her turn back to face all of you, and she'll say, "Are you going to help me cleanse the corruption now, or should I just start?"
Before you do that, I feel as though perhaps we should explain to you what this so-called corruption actually is.
She knows what it is. It's winter.
Well, she doesn't know what winter is, though.
That's true.
I felt this down there. I spoke of it to you, the oppressive evil that permeated that whole place and made my magic weak, and it felt like it was biting at my mind the entire time I was down there. And you've brought it to the surface?
Well, I think it's the least we could do after what we did to winter and well, what came before the Arakai.
Is anyone else doing anything in this moment? Cal, Connery?
Connery's just kind of standing and watching this because he has no idea what's happening. and what any of this means, so he's just like silently watching.
I think
Incidentally, I'm on especially after she mentioned about cleansing this with or without us. I'm kind of on counterspell standby mode. So I'm definitely trying to
Alrighty.
stay within 60 feet of her.
Cal's kind of torn between like wanting to help and kind of standing by Benali since he doesn't quite seem 100% sold on it either.
Okay. Who has, other than Midi, who has the best perception in the group? Probably Connery, right?
Let me check.
Not me.
Oh, I wish this would load faster. My computer's being so slow today. I've got perception at 6.
Oh yeah, definitely higher.
Yeah, so make me a perception check real quick, Connery. Okay, I'm gonna explain something you're starting to see as this next part of the scene is gonna play out. You're watching this spectacle, you're kind of removed from it because these people keep getting involved in things that just don't make a lot of sense to you, Connery. They're nice people, and you get the feeling that they're trying to do something that they mean well, but he said, she said, you don't get the context. But looking out at the horizon, you do think you start to see a couple of figures, like in the sky, horizon starting to approach, like flying towards you.
Should we be worried about that?
Well, so you see this as Midi, Vanali, and the rest of you guys watched Nola kind of swiveling around looking. She'll rest her crook against the side of the heart tree and say, I guess it will just have to be fire.
Midi will stand up. Hold on, Nola. Don't do anything too hasty.
If you want to explain why, I'll give you a chance after you fix the grove.
Just give me a sec before you do anything too hasty to explain why this is happening.
This is fun. Make me a persuasion check, Midi.
Yes.
I would say, given the circumstances, you kind of have disadvantage and advantage at play here, so I'm just going to make it a straight roll.
Oh, okay.
Not a natural one, though.
Yeah.
Okay, because you said you were keeping a specific eye for Vanali, you do watch Nola, her eyes looking at Midi, sort of imploring him, and they just kind of start to harden, and she'll begin to move her hands and the telltale signs of somatic components.
Yeah, I will go ahead and counterspell.
Okay, so and Connery, you've seen these approaching figures now.
Yeah, he's watching them. He's stopped paying attention to what's happened with what's happening at the tree, and he's watching these things approach.
They're pretty fast. You're noticing they're approaching at a great speed, and as they're getting closer, you're like, oh, these things are actually pretty big. They look like birds, like eagles or hawks or something, but their wingspan must be 20, 30 feet.
Jesus. So they're close enough for him to be able to make out details like that?
With your eyesight, which is better than a normal person's by far, yes.
Okay. Then Connery's gonna pipe up. He's probably gonna like. I don't know if they'll be able to hear them. They're too distracted, but he's gonna try and get everyone's attention so that he can point out the fuck ass giant birds that are coming towards us.
And this is why I hoped you guys would have left.
What are they?
From your perspective, you see, for lack of a better term, like giant eagles.
Based on your reaction there, Mitty, I'm assuming these are going to be the other Grove Tenders.
I'd take that action any day.
Yeah, so you guys watched as Nola began to form a spell. Vinali reached out and just sort of did like a wrenching motion with his hand, and any sort of buildup of energy Nola was generating just fizzles, and you see like her get like kind of visually frustrated as she just looks around, and Mitty, you're gonna see her dive towards the center grotto of the heart tree.
Mitty will chase after her to kind of restrain her. Not like trying to harm her.
Okay, so at this point, because this went about as poorly as I expected.
Yep.
We'll move us to a map. I need everyone to roll initiative.
She's gonna go for that staff, I know it.
Let's see here. Initiative order.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Oh, not great.
Oh, did I forget to?
Yeah, you gotta click your token. I
God,
forgot to.
bless America. Hold on. Where the hell am I? There I am.
If you need to, you can right-click your token and add turn.
You know, I have an interesting rules interpretation question.
Yes.
God.
With magical guidance, when I make an ability check that fails, would you say that rolling a 5 versus Nola's 9 makes my initiative check a failure?
Not in a strict sense, but basically you just would like to use that resource to re-roll it.
Yeah.
I'll allow that, just given the circumstance, but normally no.
Okay.
Like, initiative is an ability check, I believe, in terms of as far as the rules are concerned, but I don't
Yeah.
think you can fail it.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know if this is strictly by the rules.
But yeah, if you want to re-roll it, that's totally fine.
Hey, that's a little better.
All right, everyone on there?
Yes. Why is it 17? There we go.
Man, why do I always remember that we have the force tokens after we could have used the force token?
The world may never know.
I was just thinking that for the one that Mitty rolled.
All right, well, top of the order, it looks like it's Cal first.
Well, Cal isn't. I don't see any enemies on the map yet, and Cal definitely isn't going to take the lead against her if we're trying to stop her. I feel like he would not be comfy with that. but he will ready an attack in case one of the burbs comes swooping down.
Alright, are you gonna move at all? It's like you could move and like use your bonus action to try and hide and still like set up an attack if you
That's a
want.
good idea. Could I, like, pretend that I'm hiding under this giant mushroom? Is that what these
Sure.
are?
Yeah, they are on the map. I didn't have a perfect map, so
Oh, okay. Well, it can be some other kind
a
of
shrub
foliage.
or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
being sneaky.
Okay, so roll a stealth check, and you're holding an attack for the birds.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
The stealth?
Yes.
Oh god.
Okay. You think you did a pretty good job of hiding yourself.
Yeah, I think I did.
Okay, Conry, it's your turn. The birds have not arrived yet, but they are coming quickly.
Are they coming from the north of the map, or?
Yeah, they'll be coming, like, this way.
Okay. I'm just gonna get Conry in a position where he can be ready.
If you want, you could run up to her and try and restrain her.
Ooh, can I do that?
Yeah, would you like to restrain Nola, or are you heading towards where the birds are going to be?
Probably gonna restrain Nola, because even if Conry doesn't understand what's happening, Mitty and Venali have made it pretty clear that they don't want her doing what she wants to do.
Alright, so I think you should be able to reach her no problem.
Yeah, I think I have 40 feet, that's 35 feet.
Yeah. Alright, and then you're going to try and grab her?
Yeah.
Alright, so make an athletics check. Yes. She
How much?
rolled a 12. Okay. So, you grab her. You guys see Connery sort of sprint forward, like sort of lunging at Nola and just wrap his arms around her. How tall is Connery?
Oh my god, I don't know if I ever decided that. Hold on. Did I give him a height? No, he's probably like... I'll put him at an even 6 feet.
Okay, so Nola, despite being on the smaller end of Ursa and like is probably a good foot and some shorter than Mitty, she's still like a little taller than you even, so you kind of have to like do a tiny hop to get your arms around her shoulders.
Leap!
But for the moment, you appear to have restrained her. So you still have another attack if you'd like to like headbutt her while you hold her.
Can you restrain on the same
More
turn?
harm than her!
There
How
is
hard
a
is an Ursa's head?
there's a feat that does that, I think, Drew.
Ah,
You can get the reason why that feat is so terrible. The reason you can get the same effect by just knocking the target prone and grappling.
oh, okay.
Like shoving at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's two separate actions, well, not actions, two separate attacks to shove and then grapple, but you get the same effect as restraining without restraining yourself, which the feat does.
Okay.
yeah. So you could either do nothing, you could hit her to do some damage if you want to, or you could try and like tackle her to the ground.
Did I jump on her back or her front?
I'll say because she was running away from you guys on her back.
So then, if Conry jumped, he probably got his arms around her neck. He'd probably try to pull her down backwards.
Okay, make another athletics check. She's not rolling well. Okay, so You jump on her back and kind of like mixed martial arts, like just rear back and pull this slightly larger, surprisingly dense and heavy Ursa woman back down to both of you just kind of crash onto the ground.
I'm probably crushed, but under
Yeah,
her
it's a
weight.
good kind of crush.
It's a weighted blanket.
She is very soft and warm.
Well, at least she's cozy.
All right, so that'll be your turn. Hello, Richter.
Hi.
Hello.
So you have just joined us. Party attempted to talk to Nola out of flipping her shit, but she has flipped her shit.
What did you guys say?
You can blame Mitty for that one.
I mean, this is what happens when the 7 charisma person is talking.
So she's making. Are you in the game?
Yeah, I'm in here.
Okay, go ahead and roll initiative. Nola is making a break for the center of the Heartwood, which again I don't have a perfect map for it, but I'm going to say is this like grotto here.
Mm-hmm.
She's making a break for that, and Conry has seen. It looks like 2 giant eagles are approaching fast.
Mm-hmm. Oh, can I actually do the one thing I haven't been able to do for the entire game?
What is that?
Blood Curse of Binding.
When it's your turn?
Okay.
Which actually it is now.
So first, as in movement, she'll run up. And then she'll activate her blood, right? So first she takes damage, if I remember this correctly, in order to cast her blood curses.
Let me double check. Usually you're supposed to know how your features work.
So hang on, first it starts with Blood Maledict, which is this. So yeah, first I have to invoke damage to myself, and my current damage is 1d4.
Well, no, so you can invoke it at its base level, just doing so. You can amplify it by hurting yourself to do like the stronger effect.
Which is what she's going to do.
Okay, so then you roll one of your Hemocraft die, and you lose a number of hit points equal to that.
Right, so currently I have 2 curses to use, so it's 1d4 to myself.
Your
No, it's
Hemocraft
1d6.
die, yeah, is a d6 now, actually.
Fuck me.
6, so you lose 6 hit points.
Yep. So, with a bleeding hand, she'll point towards Nola and just in a low, almost echoing voice, and just say, "Sit."
Okay, so okay, so they have to succeed on a strength saving throw.
Oh, great, they're a bear. Lovely.
She hasn't been rolling too well.
Yeah, she rolled a 9.
Okay.
What's your save for blood curses? I think it's
14.
your yeah.
Yeah, it's my intelligence.
Okay, so yeah,
That's
she
better than I
fails.
thought.
So her speed is 0, and she
Mhm.
can't use reactions.
Until my next turn.
So she's prone, right?
Yes.
So she can't get up.
Yeah. She's
Yeah,
also
she-
grappled.
Yeah.
Isn't she quietly crushing Connery?
Yeah.
A little tiny bit.
Okay.
I mean,
It's alright.
not like dangerously.
Okay.
Connery's a monk. He can finagle his way out.
It's cozy. You might take a nap down there.
he's safe for when the eagles come. They won't check underneath the bear.
They won't see him. He's hiding.
Okay, so because you amplified it, it lasts for a minute,
Mm-hmm.
but they can make a save at the end of each of their turns to get rid of it.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, she is like super immobilized right now.
Good work, team.
Alright, so you guys watch as Connery football tackles this bear to the ground, and then Mish comes up. You see her in sort of one fluid motion raise her hand up and cut her palm on the pommel of her Magitech rapier. And as she lifts it up, she just says that incantation. And Connery, you feel the bear that you're holding like go rigid, almost as if paralyzed. And her eyes are still looking around frantically, but it's the blood within her veins has like seized.
Well, great. Just lie here then.
Okay, so that was your bonus action, Richter. You still have an action.
She'll just stay put. She'll just stay put there. Because she moved. She moved up.
Okay, so nothing for your action.
Nope.
Alright, Vinali.
I am going to go ahead and... I don't know which one's going to be more useful here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and head up to Mitty and tap him on the shoulder and cast Resistance. So you get a d4 to your next saving throw. And I'm just going to say to you, if you don't want one of them to take the staff, you'd better take it now.
That's what I was afraid this was going to become.
And so that's your move in action.
Yes.
Alright, move on to Mitty.
Where is the staff currently located on the map?
It's this like hole in the tree.
Okay. I guess I'll use my action to dash.
Alrighty.
And is it on or next to the hole in the tree?
I'll say just put your token there.
Okay. So yeah.
The map's not perfect here. Describing it in the narrative, again, the heart tree here of this grove is like a split, triple trunk, swirling tower of a great tree that, in real life it would be like worthy of being in a park display. It's beautiful, and there's like this tiny grotto in the center of where these trunks split and spiral, where the staff is just like coming up seamlessly out of the ground. But as of this morning, is like a third encased in ice up from the bottom.
Sorry, I was distracted for a second. How far up the ice has the heart tree gone?
So the ice isn't touching the heart tree yet, but in the center, where the staff is like a third embedded in a pedestal of ice.
Okay.
Which I will say, it's a good thing the blood curves actually did do something there, Richter, because it makes her not take reactions. So she was
Yep.
totally going to swipe at Mitty.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide if I should grab it now or try and progress the ice.
Also, you use your movement and your action.
Yeah. Would it be an action to grab?
I would say it would be an action to try and like grab and rip this thing out of the ice. Yeah.
Okay. Then, is preparing a bonus action a thing?
Not rules as written, but what's your intent?
I was going to prepare to rage if the two eagles come and come in with hostile intent.
Okay. Sure. I said that's fine.
Okay. then that will be the end of Mitty's turn.
Okay, so Nola. So she's been, dogpiled to the ground and frozen with this like occult magic, and those of you that are around her can see her trying kind of in vain to struggle against the bonds restricting her. And just through kind of a clenched jaw, she says, she's shouting out like up at you, Mitty, as you just, run past her towards the center of the grove. I trusted you. I asked you to bring her back, and this is what you do.
I realize I failed in saving Audra, and you probably don't even believe that we even tried. But know that what we do is not with malice, but with hope that maybe we can unlight a fuse that's ready to blow up all worlds that we live. You've seen the monstrosity that is the Arakai. We created that. We let it continue to fester, then we could very easily lose everything that we have, or we hold dearly.
Conry, she is attempting to struggle out of your grasp. So make either... No, I think for you it has to be an athletics check, right? To keep a grapple?
Wait, did she break through?
What do you mean?
Because remember, she has to make a strength saving throw.
At the end of her turn to move. She's not
Oh,
moving,
okay.
she's just trying to break the grapple.
Oh, okay.
Which is an action she can do. So Conry, make an athletics check. She's going to try and wiggle free. Nope. She rolled a 4. So it's not I'm rolling that badly, Drew. She's a very weak character, and you guys are bullying her.
We're not
What do you
trying
mean
to
we're
bully
bullying
her.
her?
Listen,
We're not bullying
everybody has this weird reaction when it comes to us, and they try and do things that aren't, good for their own health. Like being racist, that gets you instantly killed.
Okay. So she used her action to try and break free, and that didn't work.
It doesn't get you instantly killed. She lived for like 12 more seconds.
She was possessed, and then she got blam.
Okay. At the end of her turn, strength save 3.
Nope.
Okay. So she is restrained and held into the ground and is sort of futilely unable to protect what she cares about in this moment. Conry, you're kind of beneath her, but Mish and Vanali and Cal, you can just see like wet, matted fur starting to appear on her cheeks as she's just crying, held there. All right, top of the round. You guys all hear the heavy rustling sound of the canopy being displaced by gusts of wind as rocketing into the grove at great speeds. These two giant eagles just come and land in the middle of the clearing here. So let me add them. Turn. To see when they will affect the initiative order. We rolled poor. Alright, so that's going to give you guys a chance. Alright, so they have appeared. They haven't gotten a chance to like act yet, so Cal, it is your turn. They did spawn far enough away that you couldn't have used your held action, so that
Right.
fizzled.
Okay. Is this area just like water?
Yeah,
Is it
I'd
not on the
say.
map?
Well, no, I mean, I'd say that's totally fine. Maybe this is like partly iced over.
Okay. And I saw them land. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're giant fuck off eagles that just
Okay.
came descending from the sky.
Can I kind of hide here and prepare one of my brain died. One of my daggers to do a throw at if they start moving?
Okay, so you moved 60 feet, right?
Hmm.
So that was your movement and presumably bonus action to dash.
Mm-hmm.
So you can either hide or throw a dagger. You can't do both.
Okay, I will hide for this turn. See what they're gonna do first.
Okay, make another stealth check.
Oh no, oh no. Okay. I accidentally clicked on File Explorer. Hate that. Much better this time.
Yes, indeed. So you think you're hiding pretty well in some of the winterized brush over there. Kind of still waiting to see what exactly is going to go down here. But Conry, it's your turn. You are still wrestling this emotionally distraught bear.
I think I'm gonna try and get out from under her.
Okay, are you going to like release her, or are you just kind of moving around?
I think I'm gonna release her.
Okay. If you are grappling someone, you can move with them and like drag them at half your speed if you want to. But if you want to like let go and back up, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think I want to drag her with me.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna let her go. She's down, so I mean she'll get back up probably, but
Well, currently she is like semi-paralyzed by the blood magic from Mish.
all right. Well then I'm gonna let her go and try and get out from under her.
Okay. It's technically you wouldn't have had to prone yourself, so you can do that easily. You have your 40 feet of movement.
Okay, well then I'm probably going to. So I can just move then.
Yeah.
Alright, then I think I'm going to. What am I doing? No, not there. I'm gonna go move up to stand next to Mitty.
Okay, so you come kind of like into the grotto, just outside of it, kind of flanking with Mitty, protecting his back. You see these two, like I said, birds just sort of land on the ground, and they haven't gotten a chance to act yet, but they're definitely looking intently at Mitty as he approaches the staff here. Any action, bonus action?
No, I think I'm gonna wait for.
All right, so Mish, you can kill the bear if you want to.
Mish will pull out her rapier and slowly walk up to right here. And she'll just be like prepared if things go haywire.
Do you wish to empower your weapon with your one of your rights?
Not yet.
Okay, so just standard, and you're like holding an attack.
Yep.
Alrighty. Vinali.
Okay. I am going to move up to here. And I'm just going to call out to the two eagles. I don't know if they're going to speak common or not to understand me. They might only speak Zoan for all I know. But I'm going to shout out to them in common. Drop your forms and let's talk this out like adults, or I'll do it for you. And I'm going to use my action to prepare Moonbeam in case they try to attack while they're in their eagle forms.
Okay, gotcha. So, just before they have, their sort of chance to respond here, Midi, you have Connery sort of reassuringly at your back. You hear Venali shouting out to these creatures, which you can kind of only see from your periphery. Most of the heart tree here is sort of filling your vision and obscuring the outside of the grove, which, if the grove is peaceful, sort of at the center of this little nook here, it's like the rest of the world doesn't exist almost. It feels like you're at the center of some sort of miniature universe. It's just you and the staff.
All right. Do I get the same sense from the staff as I would if I was, like, in the presence of Winter herself?
It's interesting. You feel the cold radiating out from the block of ice, and it is intense. Not enough to, not as strongly as you felt at sort of the center of the Whitewood down beneath, but definitely there is a strong, magical cold presence here. The staff, however, it almost seems to be fighting against it. There is a crackling halo of static energy around the top of it that seems to just be firing off slightly into the tree and seemingly discharging at random intervals.
Okay. So, based on what happened earlier, where apparently my touch can help along this quote-unquote corruption, Midi is going to grip the staff and try to, I guess, help the conversion process along.
Okay, so you're going to try and help freeze it and not, withdraw it for yourself, right?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so Connery, you watch as Midi reaches out and puts both of his hands around this, impressive gnarled wooden staff that's like one solid piece of a tree. There's like no carving; it's just pure natural bark. As you do that, Midi, A, do you want to rage? And B, so first, do you want to rage?
Yes, I do want to rage.
Okay, so you rage. Make me a wisdom check at disadvantage.
Okay. Hey! Oh, that was a save. Well, it's the same regardless.
Okay. Those of you nearby watch as Midi, some of you can't see him personally, but you can see as the environment around responds. As Midi wraps his hands around the staff and sort of tries to channel whatever effect he's having on the grove here, the ice casing of the staff rises rapidly, covering almost the entire thing to the point where Midi, the arms you've put forward become encased in the ice. So like up from the mid forearm, you are like trapped into this block now.
Okay.
Outside, you guys watch the grove rapidly winterize. The grass underneath your feet goes crystalline, the trees get covered in their protective casing of hoarfrost, the canopy turns blue and like violet in these riotous, unnatural shades. And you see, even as this happens, the giant eagle forms shrink. They like reduce in size and like seemingly wither. They become like less imposing looking.
Oh, I think I know what's happening.
But yeah, so that was your action. You are in your bonus action. So is that good for your turn?
Yes.
Nola, distraught on the ground, isn't going to take her turn, but I'll roll her save at the end of it. 3. This is fitting for the narrative, actually. Given their chance now, as they've flown down into the clearing and suddenly been assaulted by the energy that's now filling this grove, Venali, you call your threat out, and you watch as the two much smaller eagles, now though still roughly the size of a person, they just touch down to the ground and quickly morph, changing their features. But before you stands now two of these harpies, similar to Audra, that are not quite touching the ground. They still have their wing-like arms that they're using to keep like just a couple feet off of the ground, but they stare back at you, sort of glaring daggers at the heart of the grove, and one of them, the blonde, looks over at you, Venali, and says, "It seems as though you have no intention of talking, outsider."
I have every intention of talking this out. None of us here want violence.
And the other one will respond, "And yet you proceed with your defilement. Would you just have us stand here as you desecrate the grove?"
What you say is defilement, I say is returning to its proper home.
The blonde one kind of pulls her neck down, and still a very like bird-like motion, as though kind of preparing to lunge forward. She'll just say to the other one, "There's no use talking to them, Leala. We will kill them and liberate the grove." And the black-haired one nods and is going to make a surge forward towards Midi and Connery. You said someone was holding, like you were holding a spell. Was anyone else holding an action?
I was holding like a strike if they came close.
Well, she's going to get like here, which is outside of your reach.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you casting Moonbeam, Azur?
Yes. And I'm remembering this time, before I cast it, that it's at the start of their turn that they make the save.
Okay.
But it will be on top of the black-haired one.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Let's do this. Because you said you were holding it, you can put it here where she was, and she'll make the save and take damage before she moves.
Okay. Ooh, that's good damage.
Whew,
Okay.
exactly.
So her con save is +3, so 19.
Ooh, that definitely beats. Still 9 damage.
Okay, so 9 radiant, and she's no longer shapeshifted.
Yeah, if she was shapeshifted, she'd have to switch. Oh no, actually she did save, so she wouldn't have to switch back. It's only if they fail to save they switch.
Okay, and is that just a 5 feet radius, or?
Yes, 5-foot radius, and if it matters, 40-foot tall.
Okay, gotcha. So you release this beam of moonlight energy, which burns Leala as she sort of does a squawking shriek, and is going to lunge talons out like a bird of prey. So, Midi.
Can't really defend myself.
Yeah, I will say you don't get your bonus from dexterity to your armor class because you are currently immobile.
Okay.
And I'm going to give her attack advantage on you.
Oh my god, ouch. Rin's going for the throat here.
Okay, does a 13 hit your modified AC?
Oh, no. It's, it should be 10 plus. I think it's. Is it 10 plus, con? Let me pull it up real quick.
Barbarians, it's 10 plus dex plus con.
Okay, yeah, so I have right now. Are we. Does my. Here's a question. My arm guard, do I still gain that protection or no?
I'd say there's mechanically no reason you shouldn't.
Okay, so I am sitting at 16 AC right now.
Okay, so it does not. Okay, you see Connery as this harpy with like long dark hair. She looks like her bird-like features are almost ravenish, with dark feathered wings. She just lunges like talons out at Midi to try and like grab at his shoulder, forearm to like rip him back. But the ice is starting to like encase Midi. It's like crawling up his arms, and she just sort of scrabbles off of the crystalline surface of it. And she'll strike at you too,
Okay.
which I think is 7. No, does a 17 hit you?
I don't know, does it?
I think it might not. I think you have monk AC.
What determines that?
It's the shield, like in the top leftish above your
I'm-
hit points.
17.
Okay, so it does hit. Right? Because, yeah, it meets it, beats it.
Okay. So yeah, it hits then.
Okay, so you take. She rolled low. 5 slashing damage, and you are grappled. So she does, like, fix one taloned leg around your arm and starts to kind of lift you up off the ground.
Is she grappling me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And you took, what did I say? 5 damage?
5 slashing damage.
Yeah.
So is that 5 hit points?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so 33 I'm down to.
Alright, that's her turn. You guys watch the other one, Mira. She starts to spin and twirl in place in like sort of this odd hypnotic dance. Cal and Vanali, you see like little bits of foxfire and will-o-wisps just start to like pop into existence around her as they sort of make this distracting barrier around her. She's going to level one wing-tipped wing-tipped arm at this direction. She's going to cast Fireball.
Shit, it hasn't been my turn yet. I can't counterspell.
And I can't counterspell. This is awkward.
So that's going to hit everyone else on the map except for Cal.
Even though I'm low, is this a lower elevation, my current position?
It
Or...
still hits you.
Okay, so I'm assuming I need like a deck save.
Yeah. So
I fail.
yeah. So deck save from all of you guys, which, yeah, I'm gonna say you just fail, Mitty.
Yeah, that's understandable. I think for all intents and purposes, I'm restrained. That makes you automatically fail, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah. So deck save. Vinali still need.
Oof. I'm not even gonna bother trying to do Favored by the Gods on that.
Are you
Oh.
asking for in my the traits to the side or under the saves?
To the side.
So my wisdom is 16.
What's your dex?
18.
I see you wouldn't benefit from it either. I was just wondering if it would be good for me to cast Mage Armor on either of you.
Okay.
I mean, my dex is a 7, so my save is a 7, so.
We're not talking about saves.
Oh.
We're talking about for armor.
Stat itself?
Yeah.
Yeah, my AC is a 16 with a dex of 18, so I don't think it would help anyone in this regard.
Well, you have armor on already, so you couldn't benefit from major.
Okay, so most people passed. That's good. So 8d6.
Oh.
Yeah, this might knock me out in one hit. But even a max roll on Favored by the Gods probably wouldn't have turned that into a success.
Probably not. You don't get the ability to change it until next level.
All right, so Vinali and Mitty take 22 points of fire damage.
Oh my god.
I'm not dead.
Mish and Connery take 11.
Ow.
Oof.
And you guys watch. There's this huge destructive burst of fire, like a localized explosion, right in the center of this grove, and you all take damage and feel, the like you were in a proximate explosion. But as the smoke and debris starts to clear, you see the Harpy and Nola seemingly are unharmed and have a certain amount of the foxfire will-o-wisp billowing around them now. So that will bring us back to the top of the round. So we're at Cal's turn. You are hidden. You don't think they have seen you, but you did just see in the center of the clearing a giant fireball go off that you were outside of.
Alright then. I was gonna be sneaky, but I think I'm going to dart forward and just swing at her. Swing at this other one.
Okay, make an attack.
Do you get advantage because you're a swashbuckler?
Not advantage, but she gets sneak attack because she's mono-a-monoing him.
Oh, okay.
So that hits, so roll damage with sneak attack. Nice. Alrighty.
You're up to 3d6 now.
Moving on up in the world.
Moving on.
Okay. Anything else from you?
No, I think that's it for me.
Alright, so that is Cal. Alright, Conry, you are currently grappled by this harpy woman. She has a talon around your shoulder, kind of digging in.
Okay. I'm gonna try to break out of it.
Okay. That is a acrobatics or athletics check, your choice. Oh no, she can't beat that. Okay, so you just you put the schmooze on and you wiggle out. So
Right.
you're no longer grappled. You still have one punch with your action if you'd like.
One punch.
I think I'm going to do my Fangs of the Fire Fist attack on her.
Okay, just the normal, or do you want to spin the key for the extra damage?
I'll spin the key. Wait, how do I do that? I can't remember. Do I add the fire bonus to damage, or is it a different?
Yeah, well, so roll to hit first. Just hit the fire snake attack. Okay. Now check the box next to the fire snake bonus damage, and then hit the name Fangs of the Fire Snake in the chat. Okay. So, I mean, it was still kind of a low roll, but that was a lot of damage.
Yeah, for one punch, 16 damage.
Would you say that your fangs of the fire snake is actually a wolf fanged fist?
A what?
Fighting game reference.
No, not fighting game. Dragon Ball.
Oh, I don't know. I've never watched
It's
Dragon
still
Ball.
in. It's still in fighters, so
Yeah, it is, but
I thought you were gonna making like a Buster Wolf reference.
no.
Okay, so you hit once. Now you have, without spending anything, one bonus action punch. You can spend a key point to double bonus action punch. And remember, you have Stunning Strike. So anytime you hit her or hit anybody, you can spend a key point to try and stun them.
Stun is really good.
Okay, I think I will do that. I'll go with my normal martial art. Actually, I'm just going to things. So I have another punch.
You have one more punch at default. You can spend a key to do 2 more punches. And off of any of them, you can spend a key to stun.
Okay. Okay, then I'll do that. I'll do the Fangs of the Fire Fist with the key. I'll spend a key to double hit,
Alrighty.
and then try to stun. So that would take me down to 3 key, I think.
Okay, so you can make 2 more hits with it, but don't add the bonus damage.
Okay, so I just click on it again.
Yep. Let me see. No, 11 will not hit. 23 will. So do the damage for that one. Okay, so yeah, unclick the bonus damage, but still 8. Alright, and then stunned once for Anna. She's gonna pass.
Oof.
20.
Big oof.
Yep, so that is your turn unless you'd like to move.
No, I think I'm gonna just stay where I am.
Okay, Mish, it is your turn.
Mish is going to move here, then here. Oh, hold on. She was here. Go here, then here. And then use Charity in its spear form to stab her in the back.
Alrighty. The spear is reach, so you don't have to get in engagement with her if you don't want to.
So I could be here, basically.
Correct, yeah.
So in spear form, she'll just like stab forward.
Alright, so bonus action, you change the form of your weapon, and you can attack twice.
So this is attack 1. Really?
No.
I hate D20. I really do.
You got one more hit.
Fuck you.
Alright, so you miss both times, unfortunately.
Mm.
I think.
Got Rin's luck from Lancer.
Yeah, right?
So yeah, I think that's everything you can do, right?
Yep.
Vinali. The moonbeam is like here, I believe.
Yes.
This
First,
will be
just
the
out
bit
of
I gotta get my monkey.
curiosity, did Nola get hit by the fireball?
She did. You watched neither her nor Layala took damage, but now both of them are being like surrounded by foxfire.
Okay, so they did at least protect her from that.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to reposition myself to hopefully not get fireballed again, because that hurt.
Oh Jesus, Juju. That's really pretty.
That's awesome.
Ooh, nice, yeah.
Thank you.
After the storm last night, I was just like, oh, fuck.
So I am not going to move Moonbeam, because that's an action, and instead I'm going to place all my money on Midi and cast Fireball, not Fireball, Firebolt rather, but transform the element into cold and fire it at the staff.
Gotcha. Okay.
Ooh.
And hopefully not just miss.
It just hit Mitty in the back of the head. Ow!
Okay. So. It's a stationary object. I'll say the 10 can hit.
Alright.
I think given that it is literally like just a giant fuck off stationary object, it's kind of hard to miss.
Fair enough. So 6 cold damage, not fantastic, but a little bit.
Alrighty. Also, Sunny would like to say hi.
Yes,
Hi, Sonny.
oh, let me find my cat. They can converse.
He is weirdly in my lap, looking up at you guys, with like his dumb mouth, like mouth partly open.
Is the tongue sticking out slightly?
No, he's just kind of like showing off the staple. Oh, he wants to play with my dice. That's what it is.
He wants to make the roll.
Okay, so you shoot the you shoot the staff with some cold damage.
And yeah, you can cast a spell and a cantrip as long as it's only 2 spells you can't do. So I will go ahead and cast Spiritual Weapon with my bonus action.
Okay, and I'm trying to remember, that's not concentration?
It is not.
Yeah, that I thought I For the longest time, thought that spell was.
No, everything else is concentration, though, as I have found out with my Bladesinger.
It's basically the what I'm trying to say, spell slot tax for clerics to have extra attack.
Yeah. Do any cleric domains give them multi-attack?
No, the closest is War Domain, which lets them get a pseudo extra attack with their bonus action, Wisdom modifier number of times.
Yeah.
Okay, so where would you like to place your spiritual eagle?
I'm going to put it next to Leala. We'll say here.
Drop some hardcore freedom on them.
Okay, so roll the attack roll for that. 12 will not hit.
All right. And that's everything I can do.
Okay. At your very personal perspective to it, Midi, you watch this bolt of cold energy come and hit the very top of the staff, and all the like weird lightning and static electricity that was rocketing off the top of it, you see dim and faded. You'd be just a small like purple glow around the very top of the staff. It kind of withdraws back into it at the touch.
Okay. And how far has the ice progressed?
It looks like all but the last foot of the staff is encased. Like pretty much the entire grotto at this point is becoming filled with ice.
Do I try and pull it out now, or do I wait another turn to be sure?
I say wait, but in character, I have no idea what's going on. I can just barely see the staff, probably, from my position.
I was thinking wait. There's still like the slight, like, dying of summer inside of it. So yeah, I will. I'll continue focusing that last bit of energy to try and weed out what's left of Summer's energy from it.
Okay. Make another wisdom check at disadvantage.
Okay. All right, heart of the cards. I should have called for the spleen.
You try and focus into this staff again, and nothing seems to happen.
Okay.
You focus. You know this worked for you just a few seconds ago, and the ice is definitely still climbing, but you don't feel this like surging effect that it had when you first laid your hands on it. And I mean, you're sort of realizing, shit, I'm kind of like stuck here as a harpy grove tender slashing at my back, and like my hands are in a block of ice and I can't move them, and I don't know the first fucking thing about magic. What the fuck am I doing?
Yep.
But you are still connected to this staff here.
Okay. I don't suppose I can do anything else, can I? Was that my action?
Yeah, I'd say that's kind of your turn.
Okay.
Let's see. So Nola is going to. She's going to drop. You guys will see a totem appear right there that has like an eagle, some sort of bird of prey perched atop of it that just sort of suffuses Leala and Mira with energy, but otherwise she is still literally prone and cannot move. So end of her turn, 18 strength save.
Oh, nice.
Breaks out.
Yep.
Okay, So end of her turn, she can't get up yet, but you guys see Venali, you're probably the closest. The sort of pseudo paralysis that she was under seems to suddenly drop, and she sort of slumps back onto the ground. All right, Harpy's turn. So Conry, Mish, and Midi, you guys watch as no longer grappling anybody. Leala is going to mutter an incantation in a language none of you recognize, although you recognize the sound of it, Midi. It's Druidic. You've probably heard it a lot growing up here. Although you cannot speak it, you feel me?
Mhm.
But she's going to seem to be incanting some sort of spell, and you guys watch as sort of sprouting from nowhere, just thorns and brambles begin to appear sort of around her space and wrap across her chest and her middle and then around her legs until she's seemingly wearing this like writhing cloak of brambles and creepers and stuff.
Ooh. Sounds so uncomfortable.
And very flammable.
True.
And then she is going to make 2 more attacks. Just going to level them both at Midi. Okay, that is a 24 to hit,
Yeah, that hit.
and that one is a 23 to hit.
Oh, yeah, that hit.
Okay, for 6 damage, reduced to 3.
Okay.
And 6 damage reduced to 3. So 6 damage total. And you are grappled, which she can't. She tries to like. I'm gonna roll a strength check for her. No. You feel like there's a slight pulling sensation, like that sort of like makes pain blossom in your shoulder as she tries to pull you backwards out of the grotto, but you're just stuck into the ice. But she is sort of wrapping herself around your back, and you can feel the thorns of the bramble starting to push into your back. Mira does not like being in melee. Cal, I need you to make me a dexterity saving throw.
I didn't
Well.
find
Nice.
it, sorry.
You rogues don't have evasion yet, do they?
At level,
5?
I don't think so.
I want to say it's level 7. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it's level 7. They got uncanny dodge at 5. Okay, so you are gonna take. You take 3 fire damage, reduced because it was reduced to half. And then I need you to make a wisdom save.
You said 3 fire damage?
Yep, 3 fire damage.
Okay.
Okay. So Mira turns to you and just beats her wings like together in front of her, and you see this cone of flame sort of burn and do some damage to you. In that moment where you kind of like turn and shield your face to avoid the brunt of the flames, she's able to fly away, and you can't retaliate against her.
Oh darn, okay.
Oh. I have options.
She's going to fly toward the north and bonus action continue her dance.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Okay. Cal, it is your turn.
Well, I think I will move up here close to Mish. Is she in the sky? Am I able to throw something at her?
She hasn't taken off. She's still on the ground.
Okay, could I throw a dagger at her?
You could bonus action dash to.
I could. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get up in melee with her, which will give you sneak attack with your sword.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, make another attack then. 10 will not hit.
Okie dokie.
I think that's everything you can do. You follow after her, trying to strike again, but you're still kind of bleary-eyed from the essentially magic flashbang you just took.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right, Conry.
Yes.
Oh, if possible, try not to kill them.
Oh, I'm not supposed to try. Oh, that's gonna make things hard.
Well, you can
Wait.
hit for non-lethal.
Wait,
Oh,
we're supposed to not kill them?
I would prefer they not die.
So what? Do I have a choice to just like try and knock them out then instead of kill them?
Yeah, whenever you do damage, and this goes with as far as anybody, you can, if you declare that you're trying to do something non-lethally, then it shouldn't kill them.
Okay.
There are some things, like, it doesn't make a lot of logical sense to non-lethally fireball someone.
Or
I'd like to
non-lethal
non-lethally-
disintegration.
Yeah, I was just gonna say disintegrate. I'd like to non-lethally
Just a little bit.
disintegrate.
I
Just
mean,
a little-
you can disintegrate a limb.
Yeah.
Kill them, but
I think
no.
I think the problem with that is that, like, if you disintegrate a limb, you're disintegrating the entire body. I don't think you can just be like, all right, here's the cutoff point of disintegrate.
Oh, you
Just,
can't be
just use it
selective.
like a lightsaber. Cauterize the wound as you sever the limb.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but most melee attacks, if you want to hit with like the pommel of a sword or something like that, it's valid per the rules.
Punch them in the kidney. You'll KO them and they'll piss blood for a week.
But yeah, so it is your turn, Conry, and there's this thorn wreathed harpy that is like attaching herself to the back of Midi.
So if I attempt, like, if I use the Fangs of the Fire Fist, could I use that? Okay, here's tiered question: could I set the thorny bits on fire? And if I do that, will that kill her?
So you have a pretty good feeling, and I mean, even Mitch said that like, if this is normal briar, like a normal briar patch, it should be pretty flammable. You do think that wreathing someone in fire would be hard to make non-lethal. That said, neither of these harpies seem very much hurt at all yet.
Okay, well then I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna Fangs of the Fire thingy her.
Okay, so roll one to hit.
Nice.
That will hit. Do the damage.
Should I include my fire bonus damage?
Not unless you want to spend the key on it.
I don't. I will save the rest of my key.
Okay.
Well, if you wanted to light her on fire, you would have to.
Nope, just the plain hit does fire damage.
Oh, does it? Oh,
Yes.
cool.
So 9 fire. And do you wish to stun after that?
Yes.
Okay, so let me make a save.
Big money, big money, big money, no whammies.
Ooh, that's low. 8.
Yes!
Okay, so spend your key for that. And what's your wisdom bonus plus 3?
Yes.
Okay, so your key DC is 13 then, right?
Should be 14 now, or proficiency bonus 3.
Okay, 14. Yeah, so she definitely fails. So she is stunned.
Nice job.
Okay, as you punch her, you do take 4 damage, 4 piercing damage.
Okay. From the brambles?
Yes.
That puts me down to 18 hit points.
Jeez.
Be careful.
Okay, so you have another baseline hit, which, because she's stunned, it's at advantage. So tick that, like roll with advantage thing at the top of your character sheet.
So I just click it over from normal to advantage?
Correct. And then if you want to hit again, roll another attack. Definitely a hit. Roll damage.
Very nice.
Okay. And then at base you have one more.
One more hit?
Correct. Oof, roll damage.
Ooh, the crit.
Okay, let me count this up.
13 plus 14, 27.
Yeah, 27, which she is vulnerable to fire when she has her bramble vest on. So you just did
Wait, but I
54
did the
damage.
I did the regular martial arts attack, not the fire fist one.
Did you
Second two.
want to? Because you could do Fangs of the Fire Snake with it. Was there a reason you chose to do martial arts?
I'm trying not to kill her, but I don't know how close I am to doing that. I don't know what her hit points are or anything like that.
Okay, so you only did one fire hit?
Yeah.
Okay, so 18, 23, 36 damage?
Still a shitload of damage.
Way to go, Connery.
Okay, well, hold on. Also, you do take another 7 piercing damage.
Okay, I might need to back off after this.
But
Well, she can't take opportunity attacks right now, so if you want to back off now with your movement, you can.
Oh, you used your bonus action. Do you have healing potions on you?
Nope.
Ooh, crap. Didn't think about that.
Yeah, so I'm kind of...
But you guys did see Connery just lays into this harpy, and although as they pull back their fists, there are some like puncture wounds in their hands that are bleeding, and Connery kind of like shakes his hand, from the pain. The brambles start to ignite. You see the harpy kind of do another bird-like shriek, and that fucked her up. So that was your action and bonus. You want to move?
Yeah, I'm gonna back up a bit.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna come stand next to you.
Okay, Mish, it is your turn.
Mish is going. So this harpy's flying, right?
She's not off the ground, but she's slightly in the air. Does that make sense?
Okay, so like
In
I
D&D
can't
terms,
just.
she's hovering.
So I can't go underneath her, put my spear in the ground, and then use a blood curse binding on her to fall right into it.
No, that would not do anything.
Jesus Christ.
Why? It doesn't
I-
kill her, but it pins her.
I think spike traps are generally considered deadly.
Yeah, but she hasn't been hurt this entire time. She'll live.
Yeah, a spear through the gut is definitely non-fatal, guys.
Yeah, as long as we don't pull it out so there's an exit wound. Besides, I can always cauterize it.
Plug it. You gotta plug it so it doesn't bleed.
Exactly, and I'm leaving the spear in there.
I don't
So
think you
that-
realize how vascular the organs that you are currently penetrating are.
we have a medic on standby, right?
He needs to heal us.
I will say, Richter, in case you didn't notice, the harpy to the south of you is stunned. So if you want to attack
Mhm.
her, you'll get advantage. If you want to attack Mira, it'll just be straight rolls.
Right, but so I can't do that whole pin trap, but that's unfortunate. But I can't really afford her throwing spells at us at the moment. So I'm going to force her to sit.
Okay, so that's another one of your blood curses.
Yep.
Alright, are you amplifying it or just doing the base?
I'm kind of hurting after all the fires, so I'll keep it at base for now.
Okay.
You're hurting.
Yeah, I'm at half HP.
Everybody is.
Okay, so strength save.
Except for Cal. Cal's doing great.
Cal's
Yeah,
fine.
that is a 9, so I don't think that succeeds.
She needed a 14.
Okay, so she is speed 0. She's not, actually paralyzed or stunned or anything, but she can't move.
Mm-hmm. So that means Cal has free reign to do what he wants.
Presumably. And that
We'll
was
look
your,
away.
that
And that
was
was
your
my-
bonus, so you still have your action.
And then with her spear, she'll just attempt to. How do you non-lethally run someone through?
Use the butt of your spear.
Fine.
Your
She, like,
spine. Your spear.
she'll use like the blunt end of the spear and like attempt to crash it right into her spine.
I mean, the spear is also a pole arm, so
Yeah, so it has
Can
reach.
just- yeah, bitch slap the fuck out of him with a stick.
Mm-hmm. So make your attacks at advantage.
Wait. So make up your mind. You want me to hurt these people or not?
I didn't say anything
Yes,
about not.
kill no.
Yeah, there's a big difference between hurting and killing. Hurting means they still feel the pain after this is over.
Picky.
This is how picky.
Okay, that hurts.
And then the second hit.
Uh-huh.
Rainbow.
Okay.
Whoa! Why did it roll 3 times?
Alright, I'll just take the first two.
Yep.
16. You guys are doing not a bad job of hurting her. You do see Richter using the reach of your weapon. You are able to attack Leala without getting brambled.
Huzzah! Though I'd like to add more fire to that mix, but oh well.
Yeah, it's a bonus action to light your weapon, so you'd have to have done that instead of cursing Mira.
Yeah. So,
You can do that
Oh
next
well.
time.
Yeah, next time.
Okay.
If we don't all get blown up.
Did you want to move at all?
Yeah, she'll move right here.
Okay. Technically, no, you could have gone around. That's fine. All right. So Vinali, your turn.
Okay. Seeing that Nola she hasn't gotten up yet, right? She's just not paralyzed anymore.
She's still on the ground, kind of like face looking out this way, but she hasn't been able to. She only just sort of shook off this curse.
Quick, run up and kick her paws while she tries to pull herself up.
No, I'll crouch down behind her, and Connery can push her.
We're just bullying the bear at this point.
Table topper.
But no, I'm going to give her a bit of a berth because I don't quite trust her not to swipe at me as I go past. And as I'm passing by her, though, I'm just going to look at her and implore her, stay out of this. We don't want to hurt you. And I'm going to continue to make my way up to Midi, which is probably a mistake I won't live to regret, but I am going to drop Moonbeam and cast Guidance on Midi.
Okay. So D4, right, on his next anything?
Yes, which I assume will probably be another Wisdom check in a second here.
Okay. And so you still have your bonus, right, with spiritual
Yes.
weapon?
So I will spiritually, non-lethally smack the shit out of her.
Okay, it's at
Bonk.
advantage.
So is it the form of a bat?
It's the bonk. Ooh,
That'll hit.
the bonk man cometh.
The bonk man.
It's force damage. I figure that can be non-lethal.
Uh,
Trauma. She'll survive.
she is still attached to Midi's back, but he can't see this. You can see it, Venali, from your vantage. This raven-haired harpy is sort of clutching onto Midi with wings and legs, like as much as she can, but her eyes are going in and out of focus, like she's almost using him for support at this point.
Lady, I don't know you well enough for this. Midi is pure. Please leave him alone.
And seeing that, I will shout at her as well. Not that I'm gambling that she's actually going to listen to me or even understand what I'm saying at this point, but I will shout at her anyway. Just stop this and we can talk it out.
Midi?
All right.
Well, hold on. So at the top of your turn, as you are grappled by her, you're going to take 2 piercing and 5 fire damage.
Oh. So 1 piercing, so 6 damage?
Yes.
Okay.
As she is still attached to you, and the vest of brambles is literally on fire.
Ah! You guys!
Don't worry, we're helping.
I am at like a 3rd health right now.
Yeah.
All right.
This
It is a third health at or above 10 hit points.
It is above 10 hit points.
Okay, then you're
fine.
still better than me.
You're
All right.
fine.
Okay. How is the staff looking right now?
Unchanged from the previous turn.
You get to add a d4 as long as you don't roll a 1.
Oh, yeah, it's... Okay, yeah, I'll try and get it over that hump.
Would you care to use the story point?
I would... Oh, if I do that, you're gonna, like, summon a giant stormbird to punch an idiot in the throat, aren't you?
Don't give him ideas, you dingbat.
Yes, I
Probably
want to
will
use
just
the
go-
story point.
Oh, well, now he is going to do whatever you said.
I'm gonna get drop kicked by a luchador stormbird. Summer's come to fuck my shit. Okay. Yes, I would like to use the story point.
Okay, so I have flipped that token. So you may roll your wisdom check straight now, and you get to add a d4 to it.
Okay. I don't want to press it.
Is
Yes!
Is that with guidance?
It gets to add a d4 to it, which 21.
But I won.
That's as close as you can get without going over.
Is this where I yell blackjack?
Oh, wait, no. Did Mini go bust? Are we playing 20, or...?
20's
Okay.
weird.
So, what happens is those of you around watch as the inner grotto here finally completely fills with ice. Finale, you see the ice extend to cover the entirety of Midi, and by unfortunate proximity, the entirety of Leala as well.
Oh god, sorry.
Probably also parts of my hand because I had to touch MIDI to cast guidance.
Yeah, it's that licking the flagpole thing. You have to like pull your hand off.
Taking some of your fingerprints with.
The entire grove at this point flashes to become unmistakable from the white wood. Mish and Cal, you guys watch Mira kind of looking around, just aghast, fear on her face, as the fire is still swirling around her, but you see the motes of the foxfire sort of diminish, grow even weaker, the light they give off even smaller.
So I take it this is normal then, Mish will say.
You guys see, coming out from all of the foliage around here, and they've been mostly reticent to appear while this fight has gone on. It appears that they haven't shown themselves. But all at once, the spirits of the grove start to come out, like in droves, flooding into the center of the area here, around the sides of where you guys are. You just see these motes of blue sort of standing around. And then they start to collide with each other, and one of them will vanish and the other one will get bigger. Mish, you look over and you see spiritually this elder gnoll running, spectral, trying to flee for his life, as a spectral elf reaches out and grabs him, and he vanishes, and she grows brighter. You see the same thing happen with Ursa and Feo, and just one by one, the Zoan of the Grove are being consumed by Elf and Arakai.
What? And she'll actually look around. So it's all these spirits just being consumed. Can she attempt to grab one?
We'll get to your turn in a minute. Yeah. We'll pause for there for a right second. Nola is going to get down on her knees and cry. Okay. You'll get an attack of opportunity. Mira's going to swivel around to this side of Cal and Burning Hands you both. So you both make a dexterity save for me. Okay, and did you want to stab her, Richter?
Yes.
Okay, so make an opportunity attack.
Bitch, what was that for?
Oh, that hit. Okay, but Mish takes 5 fire damage, and Cal, you take 3.
Ow.
Let's see, and you did 11 to her. And then, disorientated as you guys are, she is going to fly. She's going to run this way, get about that far before you see her morph back into an eagle, still small, still reduced, and take off away from you guys. Looking back, in the last minute, she was a harpy. She just turns back, looks at you all with sort of furious tears in her eyes before she shifts back into her eagle form. Okay. There are no active enemies on the battlefield at the moment. The four of you that are not frozen see Midi and this other harpy in the block of ice. Nola is on the ground and doesn't seem to be resisting at the moment. What would you four like to do?
So.
First
Does
off, how
I
far
was
did
gonna
Mira
ask
get?
something.
I'd say she's like at this point maybe 15 feet off the screen, but she'll be moving quicker in subsequent turns.
Yeah, I don't think Midi's going to need the guidance at this point, so I am going to moonbeam her.
Okay.
Out of spite.
That Drew?
Okay.
I mean, it only has one chance to work because I can't move it fast enough to keep up with her, but
no, she fails.
so she drops back down to the ground.
Oh, with momentum. Ow.
Also, she still has a flying speed as a harpy. She
Oh,
doesn't
that's true, yeah.
drop, but you see her try and take off and bamf, and just this beam of moonlight comes down from the ground, shifts her back into harpy. She kind of roll the damage for that. Jesus.
Damn, Master. You are cold-blooded.
I'll just shout out, "Get back here and talk!"
She's not going to respond, but she is still winging it away. But she's definitely it's not as effortless as it was. She's having to beat her wings and try and flee from this act she's witnessing.
Midi, you might want to implore Winter to stop this carnage.
Should Midi even hear you if he's entirely encased in ice?
Yeah, can I hear anything from my my comfortable ice bed?
I was gonna say, Midi is not available at the moment. Please leave a message.
For the time being, Midi does not answer.
Fair enough.
Midi's not here right now. Please leave your message after the beep.
Beep.
You guys actually watch as this inner crystallization of the grotto is expanding to the heart tree now. And similar to the white wood, you see this massive multi-trunked spire of wood become encased in pure, perfectly clear crystal. And those of you that witnessed the heart of the whitewood, which I think the only one available right now is Finale, it becomes eerily similar to the heart tree of the whitewood, which had the soul of winter encased in the ice at its center.
Do we see that massive soul?
Not yet.
Was Mish able to grab any of the other souls before they were consumed?
Okay, so you're waiting around, and there's just not quite a combat, but like I said, it seems as though the spirits of this grove are turning on themselves. You can't physically interact with them at all. You've never tried to do so, but if you'd like to, you could try and purify one with your right.
Mm-hmm. So Mish will immediately just like clap her hands together and like start praying. And she'll start doing her purification ritual.
Okay, so sorry. Two ways you can go about this. You can
Mhm.
try and go that way, which is slower and may or may not work. you know when fighting demon souls, you can unmake them by
Mm-hmm.
physically striking the soul with your Rite of Dawn infused weapon.
Alright, so Mitch will invoke the Rite of Dawn while reverting Charity from its spear state to its rapier state.
Okay, roll a d6 damage for yourself. Okay, take 1, but you have the Rite of Dawn active.
Mm-hmm. And on the closest spirit she can see, she'll bring like the blade close and then just like stab forward.
Okay, to the nearest Zoan spirit or elf/Arakai spirit?
Arakai spirit. Or Elven/Arakai in this case.
Okay. Roll an attack roll. Okay. Can you roll the radiant damage for me? Okay. Those of you that aren't frozen, watch. One of Mish just sort of stabs her glowing weapon towards one of the balls of blue light, and it just pops like a bubble. Mish, you watch as you run this Arakai through, and in that moment of striking, he turns and like sees you for the first time. Like actually, like you feel you guys share sight when for previously you had ghosts don't look and react to people. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And like Mish
But
will just like shout,
hold on.
"Be
You stab
okay."
it,
Mm-hmm.
it disintegrates, and all that is left is a tiny flicker of light, which your sword eats.
Well then.
Immediately as you do that, all of the spirits, Zoan, Elf, Arakai, turn and look at you like a room full of ghosts that had been ignoring you all turn to stare right at you and turn and flee, disappearing back into the trees all around.
God damn it.
Mish will look around, like with her right still active, and I don't
What?
What was that?
think I have anything that's similar to this, but like, is there a way for her to, Oh, am I breaking up?
A little bit,
Hello?
yeah.
You were.
So what? Okay, hang on one sec. Okay, my connection's working. What the hell? So she'll try and is there any way she can actually like, since they can see her but they fled from her, like she'll rattle off in Old Tethian, she'll rattle off in Common and Elven, like pretty much just asking them why they were killing each other, like basically to show themselves and answer.
You do not see hide nor hair of a single specter anymore. All of the blue lights have vanished back into the trees.
And I thought like she'll, with her Rite of Dawn still active, like you said that it absorbed that spirit
Not the
that she
spirit.
stabbed.
The spirit disintegrated the moment you stabbed it, and all that was left was like just the faintest, tiniest bit of glitter that just sort of folded into the light your weapon was already encased in.
Mm-hmm.
You absorbed it?
That's what it looks like. So Mish will, like, with a flourish, cancel out the right, and she'll examine where that glitter of light entered her blade, as it were.
You do not see any visible change to your weapon or anything at all.
Mm-hmm. But with the right off, does any spirit come back?
Nope.
Huh. She'll just turn to Cal and just shrug. I don't know. Maybe they don't like the light. Which would make sense.
Blinded by the-
Anyway, what are we gonna do with Knuckleheads 1 and 2 in the ice here?
Okay. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to do, or while Mish was killing the ghost?
I think Connery wants to approach. What's her name?
Noah.
Nola.
And you said she's got like this. You. Oh God, I went brain dead for a second. He'll probably like tap on her shoulder or something to see if she's like okay, or she hasn't gone like catatonic in shock or something.
She's not catatonic. She does kind of like look up at you when you tap her on the shoulder, and you can see the fur of her face is just matted with tears as she just looks up at you, sort of wordlessly asking, why?
Wrong person to ask that one to.
Listen, lady, I just got here.
Hi, nice to meet you. If anyone's seen Disenchanted, just imagining, it's like, why? Why did you destroy everything? Hi, I'm Alpha.
But
You said that the tree was starting to look like the center of the Whitewood, correct?
yeah, not the exact same, but the resemblance and sort of the fact that the tree is now like sort of wrapped around this crystal base is definitely familiar.
I like to approach a roundabout where I suspect the soul would be in this setup if she were here, and just kind of place my hand on the trunk of the tree there, and just try and like focus on an attempt to commune with Winter, and it, not knowing if I'm even getting through or not, but just say, this isn't what you wanted, is it? The wrath and vengeance will warm the body for a bit, but this cycle of violence will just perpetuate. One or the other will be forced underground. Is that what you want?
Okay, so I think this is when we will transfer to MIDI.
Okay. The bicycle.
As the ice encased you, everything went dark.
Okay.
When you don't become aware of like waking or becoming conscious, but there's just a moment when darkness is replaced with sight, and you feel more than you see that you're back in the Whitewood. That familiar, intense, soul-chilling cold permeating around you. But all you can see is ice around you, around her, around everything. It's like you are in the crystal with her.
Okay.
And that is when the blue begins to resolve into shape. You see 8 legs, spider-like, but not like the Arachais. They're covered in thick, downy white fur that gives them almost like a plush, comforting appearance, like a bank of undisturbed fresh powder. You see the body of a spider. Again, not quite like an Arachai, like a proper arachnid body shape, still covered in that white down, massive, bigger than any individual being you've seen, bigger than yourself by 2 or 3 times. But at sort of where you'd expect the head and pincers of this creature to be, it flows upward to a smooth, naked and bare torso of a drow woman. Beautiful, long white hair that goes down to the spider body beneath her. Just seems to flow in a breeze that doesn't exist. She's wordless, but as she looks at you, smile right across her face. The front 2 furry claws go over your shoulders and pull you close, and then her drow arms reach your head and like sort of just press you into the down of the front of the spider.
Am I able to respond at all?
Yes, of course.
Oh. I think this is the first time that I can say we've met face to face, Winter.
It's weird. You don't feel her presence become less imposing, but it's like she's shrinking down to where she's able to look more eye level with you. And they're both massive, but normal size as the rest of her legs come around you, and she's just ball of death, like holding you tight towards her. You can feel the 8 points of the spider legs just against your back and your sides as they just hold you like physically tight and close to her.
Mitty will reciprocate and give a big old bear hug back and try and share some of his body warmth.
As you'll finally hear a voice, familiar, feminine, charming, comforting, a bit like almost the hint of a lullaby, almost like luring you into a sense of peace or slumber. She'll say, for the first time in centuries, I can feel you.
Well, that's good. That means what we did wasn't well, it did something. I don't know what we did, but it was something.
I can feel their warmth flowing to me now. And they used to have it all.
Well, here's hoping this is the first step in righting a wrong.
She'll kind of lick her lips in a way and say that they've had this all for this long. I'm jealous. I wish I could have more. She'll just, again, hugging you as tight as seemingly she is physically capable of. She'll just sort of, her drow hands stroking the back of your head lovingly. You have done so very well. I'm so happy that you chose me.
Well, they couldn't just leave you to rot. Just not the bear that I am.
It's letting your bear blood.
Worry not about rights or wrongs. You have given me the greatest gift I could have asked for, Middendorfy.
And what's that?
I will drink deep of this magic, and I will get stronger, and we will make more groves mine, and then they will know.
She is making me uncomfortable.
Can I ask something of you, Winter?
Of course, anything for my first and greatest friend.
I wish to help right this wrong, but I would rather it not turn into pointless violence. I ask that not to forgive what has happened to you, but to use it as a guiding post for a brighter future. Don't let this cycle of pointless hate continue.
You think it hatred. You think that I wanted you to kill those grove tenders?
Well, I don't reckon to hold such great, deep insight, but I know what I faced. There was a rage that, well, took me a while to get over, and well, that pales in comparison to what you were dealt. Sorry if I assumed wrong.
She'll open her mouth a couple of times, sort of like tasting the air. It's a oddly spider-like mannerism. You'd imagine if she had mandibles that they'd be clicking, but it's done with the drow part of her body, so it just looks a bit like a kid smacking their lips, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was one kind of winter, Midi. But a god is what their people want them to be. If you want me to be a gentle kind of winter that souls can lose themselves in and sleep quietly and peacefully, then I can be. Or I can be a type of winter that will cover the cradle in ice and bury our enemies in it, where they'll never see warmth or light again.
I would hope for a future where we can move past our differences. I know that we have experienced much hardship from them, but as someone who has received a second chance, I would like to extend that second chance to others.
I see. I'll try to think on that. Try to know your heart more closer so that I can be the god you want me to be.
Then I thank you for taking this matter under consideration.
For now, I will just drink, heal. Maybe soon I'll be strong enough to help.
Is there anything more that I can do to help?
Her grip tight on you is she'll just say, if I could be a selfish deity, I would want all of you by my side while I grew bigger and stronger and could hold you close every day, but, well, those of you that walk in the sun shouldn't suffer in prison that I reside in.
If I wasn't already beholden to certain tasks, I would spend the days with you while you recovered. But unfortunately, there is a promise that needs to be kept. The second chance that allowed me to, well, meet you, they also need some help.
Yes, there's someone else who holds part of your heart, isn't there, Mitty?
Yes, the one that reached out to me when I was in the darkest parts of my life.
You feel the spider parts moving, sort of just adjusting the two of you in her little nook, and she'll say, "It's okay. You can find them and free them too. When the time comes, maybe I could eat her, or she could eat me, and we'll be the best god you could have asked for. The two of us together."
Wouldn't you lose yourself in that process?
What is there to lose for a goddess of nothing, of no followers, of no domain, of no hold on life?
You may not have such a purpose now, but you're alive. That means you can find a new purpose. And we can find new followers.
And we will. We absolutely will. Again, there's just, lovingly patting your head. Don't worry. I'll let you go now so you don't freeze, but I'll be the best goddess you could ask for, I promise. I'll make myself into whatever you want, whatever you need.
And I will try my hardest to be the best. I guess I'm a grove tender now? Not entirely sure. The best, whatever I am to you, I can possibly be.
you can feel her unraveling from around you and starting to push you backwards, like through the ice, out and away. And as she does, she'll just smiling beatifically at you, and she'll just say, "You already are. Don't worry. You already are." And from the outside at that time, you guys see the ice not moving, not cracking, not reacting, but sort of like phasing through it as if not really there. Midi is just ejected from the crystal and comes like falling back on his ass, like into the ground.
Is Leala still in there?
The harpy detaches from Midi's back as he is pushed through. She flops back down onto the ground and is unmoving.
Am I awake?
You are. You completely conscious.
Can someone check on her, please?
Yeah, I'm already on my way over to do that.
You pick up the harpy's like arm to try and like gauge, her how if she's well, and she is deathly cold to the touch. You feel at her throat, and there's no pulse.
Well, I don't have Revivify. I don't know how long
Ooh,
she's been out.
We have the scroll of Revivify.
Do we? Where?
Yes.
Okay.
Nola gave it to us. I want to say, I don't know who has it. I could have sworn we got a Revivify scroll from her.
If I remember correctly, that was a scroll of Spare the Dying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Don't think that'll work.
I don't know if this even would help anything, but we don't feel a pulse, right?
You don't. She looks like it with how pale and blue her lips are. It looks like she's been frozen to death for a while.
For lack of anything magical to do, I'm gonna try CPR or whatever the fantasy world equivalent is.
I was gonna,
Careful, she's part bird. Her bones are hollow.
Crack.
I mean, technically, if you are doing CPR correctly, you are supposed to break their ribs, but, I was gonna say I had a pocket mirror to hold under her nose to see if her breath frosts with the mirror at all, but if she's not breathing, then...
I will say, through all examinations you guys do, this harpy appears dead, and from visual inspection and sort of touching like her body, you know that she couldn't have died. She only could have died just recently. But it feels and appears as though you found a corpse, like in the middle of a snowdrift that's been there for weeks.
Damn it, why does no one listen?
We didn't do that to her. She got frozen on top of you, so this ain't on us.
We still bear some responsibility. Even though the circumstances were not what I would hope would be, it's still our fault in a way.
I'm gonna break off some frozen branches and get a fire going.
Alrighty.
Question.
Yes.
Would I think that would be a wise thing to do? She does. Winter does like the heat, but it seems like body heat. I don't know if fire could sustain itself nearby, or if it would be something that she would not be appreciative of.
Make an insight check. Inside. Here. No. I mean, this is pretty new to you.
Yeah. Too cold, no thank.
She definitely seemed, from your current conversation with her, very happy. So even if she normally wouldn't like it, maybe she'd tolerate a minor inconvenience.
Snuggle puddle on top of her.
So I also have an interesting thought. Not that Vinali is going to realize this just yet, but just something that occurs to me, the player. Is Mitty holding the staff?
Is that an in-character question?
Vinali is still going to be focused on... I'm already forgetting her name again.
Leala.
Leala, yes. So he wouldn't notice, no.
Okay, so because you brutally murdered or drove off my Grove Tenders,
Brutally.
hey, you did Connery did 40-something damage in a round.
Yeah, non-lethal damage.
So
It was an ass whooping, not a murder. She decided to get clingy.
That's her. Yeah, that's her own fault. She shouldn't have been.
Her death was again. That's the second death at the cause of a Grove Tender's fault. At this point, I'm starting to question their functionality if all they're going to do is get themselves killed.
So your victims were named Leala Thornweaver and Mira Summerdancer.
Victim. Victim.
I didn't do anything.
All I had to do was not attack. And we even held back.
Okay, devil's advocate here. You kept telling them to stand down and not fight while you were turning the grove.
I mean, maybe they should take a chance on things,
Yeah,
Thank you. That's exactly where I was going.
Take a chance on change.
Yeah. Listen, Mitty has everyone's best intention with his reasoning behind it.
Sure he does.
I mean, he thinks he does.
So
He's
now,
Hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah. Listen, Mitty has seen firsthand the shithole that is the Underdark, and he knows exactly why it's like that.
We didn't
Maybe
do anything.
if he can maybe remedy the cause, maybe the effect will be less terrifying.
okay, so Vinali, you're able to gather some very cold and icy branches, but with extended effort, you are able to get something of a small fire going.
I'm going to try and thaw out the body.
Alrighty. What about the rest of you?
Mish is actually gonna walk around. And did Mitty have the staff with him?
Mitty is holding no staff, and as you look into the ice at the center of the tree, there is no staff.
Mitty has to become the staff. Oh, hold on. Mitty's got something caught in his throat.
Went down the wrong pipe.
Right. So, she's gonna take a look like where the staff originally was. And is there anything that stands out? Anything that seems off?
Investigation or perception, your choice.
Let's see. What's my worst skill here? Investigation or what was the other one? Insight?
Perception.
Perception.
I feel like investigation would be better for you.
Yeah. Oh, wait,
Okay.
let me turn that off.
Still 14. This staff was like literally growing out of the ground seamlessly, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see no staff anymore, but tracking your eyes down to the very part of the ground where the staff had grown out of, you see a little hole in the ground. And little by little, there seems to be incredibly tiny motes of glitter coming up out of that hole and into the ice crystal.
Mm-hmm. So, with Charity still in its rapier form, she's actually going to poke that little area with the bladed tip pointed down and see if like there are any lights that will flow into her sword,
Well,
as it
so
were.
Maybe stop this from happening.
Yeah, well, he can, but also, first of all, this is like the center point is behind like 5 feet of ice right now, Richter.
Oh, okay.
Poke the ice.
If you do that, I will swat you, like, into the ice.
Touch it!
Well, then, like,
it is a solid, like almost 10 feet in diameter block of ice, and this central point is like in the very middle of it, right?
hmm.
Don't you have a spear that reaches 10 feet?
Yeah, but I have to burrow through all the ice.
Do not poke.
What?
I feel like this is in character.
Yeah, this is very much in character for me to do. Like, what's this?
If Mitty will say,
Cat
matter
curious.
of factly,
Cat knocks dish off shelf.
if you poke it with your spear, I will put you through the ice.
Fine, I won't poke it with the spear.
Do not poke it with anything.
Honestly. Then how are we supposed to figure out what it is?
There's nothing to figure out.
I'm tempted to have Connery pick up a rock and toss it at it. Just
Mitty is dealing with children.
Need to get some leashes.
Kinky.
Like
You
that.
know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. Do you think that's not a popular fetish in a world with animal people?
I'm talking about like the leashes you put on toddlers, Harry.
Walk me, daddy.
Oh my god.
Wait, there are leashes for children?
Yes!
Yes?
Yeah.
Wait, are you telling
Oh,
me
I
you
found
weren't
it.
leashed as a child?
I found it. Hold on.
No,
I never
it wasn't.
leashed when I was a kid.
I wasn't either, but I know they exist.
I'm
Am I
gonna,
the only one
my-
who was leashed?
I'm gonna redraw this.
It
with
is
Mitty.
the most hilariously terrible thing you have ever seen done to a
Oh
human.
my god.
But
I'm
like,
gonna redraw that with Mitty, Connery, and
I guess I took for granted that I had good parents.
well, I
Oi.
mean,
Take
Have you
offense to
seriously
that.
never seen that?
No. I don't know why that's not like child abuse.
my
That's
parents
not.
had to put me on a leash, or I would have disappeared.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
same.
honestly,
It's literally meant for kids to not wander away from their parents.
Or,
Sure.
children that run like 90 miles an hour because
It
they
wasn't
are.
that bad. I mean, like, cause it's attached to a backpack, so it's not like it's.
Yeah.
That's
but
fair.
you,
And
just
you
lie
want to
on the
know
floor and make my mom drag me.
you want to know
now
that
the
one
shock
fatal
collar,
design.
that's the overkill. You don't
Yeah.
want the shock collar on the kid.
No,
Yeah, but
that's too much.
you want to know the one fatal flaw of that thing?
What's that?
That kids are slippery and can easily get out of it, as I can attest to.
No, subways.
Oh god.
If the parent gets off the subway,
Okay,
but the
okay,
child does
okay,
not,
okay.
Luckily,
I get
there's
you.
no subway near where I live, so.
If anybody shares the gif of the dog going within the elevator on the leash, I am kicking you.
Oh god, no.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
also a design flaw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Granted, if you have people who can think fast, they can just cut the leash. But
or
no.
just have some fucking common sense and
Contingencies.
pay attention.
Okay, so executive function. Let's move this back to the game here.
So, but yeah, so Mish is just like looking down, like, I wonder.
No,
Like, she'll actually, like, can she crawl into the wood?
at this point, Mitty is going to pick up Mish and place her somewhere where she can't be a pet.
Mm. Mish is just gonna climb in and just go for it again.
Okay.
So yeah, that song and dance will be occurring for a while because Mish is now curious.
What role do I need to make to choke Mish out?
It's animal abuse. You can't do that.
I don't know
know.
that Mish is an animal.
Yeah, I'm not an animal.
I am.
Okay.
I want to put Mish in a full Nelson and just wait for her to pass out.
Okay. Make an athletics check. Mish, you can do acrobatics or athletics.
Okay.
Am I still raging?
You can be. I'd say this is sufficient for a new raid.
Yeah.
I need a picture of Mish. Who has a picture of Mish?
She is Hu Tao from Genshin.
So what? So Mitty just has Mish,
Yeah, you have Mitty is grappling Mish.
and Mish is just like trying to get free. Hmm.
Well, that leaves.
Like, so now you just like have like a wiggling person just in a bear's arms, like, no, let me go, I want to see. So, at what point do I have to start making like constitution damage or trying to break out again?
Well, let's not make this entirely a PvP thing.
Mhm.
Conry, make me a perception check. Okay. By the time you look back and notice, Nola's that far from you. She's been kind of slowly backing away from the group.
She's running away.
Are you not gonna help try and save your friend here? Or are we gonna have to do it all?
At that prompting, Vinali is going to pick up the body and start carrying her towards Nola.
Fix.
Okay. Nola kind of eyes wide and just sort of looking at all of you, as if she's never seen you before. Is just rooted to this spot, and as you approach Finale, and isn't responding right away.
There's unfortunately nothing in my repertoire at the moment that can help. Perhaps you know a spell?
She just kind of will mutely shake her head side to side.
And the other one ran away, didn't she?
Yeah, she was forcibly ejected from her eagle form, but she was still 30 feet a turn, booking it out of the way from the grove.
She probably crashed.
Damn it.
And do we carry her to the other grove? It wasn't that far.
Oh, well, you're the person who knows about this. How do we, make sure that she gets the proper respect?
Sorry, you asked that of Nola?
Yeah.
You'll just see like the left corner of her mouth kind of like twitch up. You. Why don't you feed her to the demons, Middendorfy, like you did Audra?
That's a bit fucked, don't you think?
This is no time to get snippy. This is your friends, or I guess colleagues' body. We didn't want any of this to happen. So, the least we can do is make sure that the proper respects are given.
Again, kind of just shaking her head side to side. You can't see, but I can. There's nothing in that body, Middendorfy. Your new creature that you've summoned ate it.
Damn.
Wouldn't be the first time we've made a bargain.
Can't breathe. Help.
Unfortunately, I think knowing what we know about how all this stuff works, I think it's too late. He says casually while choking out Mish.
Make a con save,
Mitty or
she's-
Mish?
Mish.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Okay. Mish goes dark as you fall unconscious.
Alright, feeling that she has stopped squirming, Mitty will just drop Mish.
Yeah, you just choked out your party.
Casually, too, I might add.
Sometimes you gotta put the kids to bed, you know? Whether they want to be there or not.
Sleep.
Well, I can see what I can do, but this one is definitely a. Well, to put it in perspective, we had a much better chance of the deal we made for Audra's soul.
I didn't want to believe it when they told me that they sensed Audra go, and they told me what you all were. I wanted to think that they just didn't understand, but everything you've shown me here makes me understand that they were right about all of you.
Mitty will kind of like paw his face and just that motion of just like ugh.
Yeah.
Listen, if it's any consolation, Audra died a warrior's death, closing one of the biggest damned rifts the Cradle has ever seen. Even though y'all dislike me, I am a man of honor. And so, if everything is as we were told, her spirit should have returned to the cradle, so she can rest with the ancestors. As for that one over there, well, I'll try and talk to Winter, but it might be too late at this point.
Nola's been pretty scared this whole time. I mean, she missed out on several turns, essentially just being despondent during this fight. But you see her face harden, and she kind of lifts her chin up at you in a way that is, in a way, it's like it kind of takes you off guard how much of an Ursa gesture it is, right? There's this bit of steel that enters back into her as she says, "You are a man who thinks he is honorable, Middendorfy Toughhide. But we know who you are, and the Grove Tenders, they'll stop this. Whatever evil you're trying to do here, they know, and they'll chase you out of the cradle for good this time."
Well, I respect the spirit, kid, but unfortunately, you seem to. Well, I guess there's key information that you seem to be lacking. Maybe it's something that they'll inform you when you get higher up in the order, but I don't know. I don't. At this point, I don't expect you to understand.
Midi, that's not going to help anything. Talking it out is the only way we're going to do this without more bloodshed.
Yes, I would much rather be talking this out, but it's kind of difficult when they just outright refuse to listen or, have a dialogue.
Well, Nola, you trusted us once. You may not trust us now, but would you still be willing to at least hear our reasoning? You can walk away, refuse to believe that what we're saying is true, but at least listen to what we have to say.
Chin still raised, Nola will say, "If you intend to let me go, I will listen, but only so I can tell the Seed of Summer what the nature of their enemies are."
At that, Midi is going to kind of angrily say, "Do you honestly think that after everything that just happened, that we're going to gut you like a fish? Do you honestly believe that that's what's going to happen? Or are you just blind to what's happening in front of you?"
This is awkward because Mish is unconscious.
Oh, she's fine.
Step in front of him, like hide him. Her.
But
Yeah,
she-
you're like, yeah. Why would you think that we would kill you as you're choking out your own ally?
Listen,
Well, no, at
all
this
right?
point, Mitch is unconscious and
Oh,
she
I
was
know. I'm just
dropped.
saying. I'm not crazy. You're crazy.
Nola will reach out, still kind of trembling hand, and point at Leala and say, "One dead grove tender." She'll point at the tree. "One grove defiled to probably where it will never be able to be healed." She'll point at Conry and Mish. "Two half beasts in a grove." Keep her
Wait,
finger on Mish.
Wait, out of character. How did she know that?
She's a fucking grove tender, Richter.
God damn it.
She'll keep her finger on Mish and say, I watched her kill and eat a soul like a demon. And then she'll point her finger at you, Mitty, and say, Defiler. The only ones here who I haven't personally watched this afternoon commit sin are the outsider Ava.
Yeah, lucky you guys are still in her good grace.
I wouldn't exactly call myself an Ava, and certainly they wouldn't call me one, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Also, when did I eat a soul?
When you fucking stabbed it.
I thought I was releasing it.
No, you fucking devoured it. Why do you think everything ran in fear of you?
Huh. So that means the Order has some explanation to do. Because, you know, that's how we exercise things.
No,
But you'll find that out later, because right now
Yeah.
you're still unconscious.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Pandemonium, you have some angels clapping.
Wait, what? Anyway. Moving on.
I mean, she's laid out her list of charges, and you don't need to roll an insight here. I mean, as everyone can tell, I mean, obviously you guys understand what you're doing. You know what led you guys here. You know what your real motivations are. But, well, except for...
Yeah.
All right, Connery, sit down because you're gonna learn. All right, everyone, gather around. It's class.
But legitimately, the way you guys have comported yourself here, there's no reason to her why she shouldn't think that you guys are everything that she says you're being.
I mean, our commitment to trying not to hurt them. I feel like that should earn us some points. I feel we did pretty good in that regard.
I mean, fuck it. If you want to, make a persuasion check.
Oh God, no, no. We'll keep this out. I'm just.
I'll give
I
the
can do it.
persuasion check a shot. I've got sorcery points to burn.
Make a check at disadvantage to try and express some level of sincerity here.
Can I go for shits and giggles?
No, one person needs to helmet.
Okay.
Also, Cal, you didn't say literally anything in that conversation.
And I will go ahead and burn a sorcery point to reroll.
Alrighty. Is it one reroll or does it reroll the whole check?
When you make an ability check that fails, you can spend one sorcery point to reroll the d20. So it doesn't specify.
Okay, so just roll flat again.
Ooh,
Nice.
those acting classes really paid off.
D&D, man.
Quick, lie to her and let her know how sincere we are. I'm kidding.
Oddly enough, deception, not a proficiency. Vinali is a pretty honest guy.
I will say, just because that's fucking stupid that you rolled that high. You are, to an extent, reaffirming what she just expressed. She had, and
You elf boys are trustworthy.
yeah, you're getting the feeling, although you two are outsiders, you haven't done anything wrong. And so she doesn't seem openly hostile to you, But everyone else she has some very, very good reasons to distrust.
What did I do?
You were a happy.
Beat to death, Leal.
No, no.
She was alive when I was done, okay? I didn't beat her to death.
I can tell you she was on 5 HP.
That's a lie.
Yeah,
5 HP and on fire.
yeah.
That's
And
still
instead of standing down, or having a conversation, she doubled down, and look where it got her.
So,
Technically, that's not on her. That's not on her blood. That's not on her hands.
so
Technically.
that means she had 5 HP to burn.
Way to go, Rainbow.
Now there's one elf that she trusts.
She gets the sudden feeling that she can't trust Cal.
I know there's just something about him. He seems like the type to
me. Trying to protect his friend.
Well, in
His back.
in lore, Juju, to be fair, half beasts are even worse than outsiders in the cradle.
Yeah, no, they don't like you to begin.
For you, it's kind of a racism thing.
Oh, okay. Well, then fuck her then. I don't want her to like us.
And in my case, like, Misha's just been hiding it, so that's why, like, she's like, nope, I'm wearing this hat. You don't know what I am. Go away, shoo.
As a side note, just out of curiosity, I know we're getting really sidetracked, but out of curiosity, is it the same for the Ava and the elf city whose name I forget? Do they trust outsiders more than they trust half-elves?
Indra.
Sin Indira is the
I
name of
was
the capital.
close.
But no, I would say the half elves are the other way around. The Ava trust half elves more than others, but they're not. They don't have the right to have the reincarnation process performed on them.
Okay.
They kind of view it the other way around, where because you have some elven blood in you, you're better than the riffraff, but you're not a true Ava, of course.
Fair enough. Yeah, as long as I have her somewhat listening, I'm going to try and lay out the story of what we believe truly happened in the cradle a millennia ago.
I mean, we did see it.
Well, you were told it.
I thought we experienced it. Benali and I.
You guys had an experiential vision of the culling of the Winter Seed's followers.
Mm-hmm.
Did we not call them? Is that what we just did?
Say what?
Did we not just kill people? Like call?
Well, I meant like the vision that Venali and Midi had before.
It was very different from the combat we just experienced. It was a lot more of like a tide of bloodshed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Like
this
an
was
outright
more
murder.
like, and this was more like trying to defend the idiot who got his hand stuck in the toaster while trying to knock out the enemies of Sock and Boppers.
Wait, who put their hands into the toaster?
Me.
Midi.
Oh.
While also still trying to make toast.
Wait,
I had the fork in there too to try and get it out.
Wait, so if Midi was the idiot, why'd you choke out Mish?
Because you suddenly ascended into uber idiot.
You took a
We got
steep-
Midi's hand out of the toaster, and you said, "That looks like fun. I'm gonna do it too."
I'm gonna stick my
I-
head in it.
No, I have a fork. I can just do that.
Okay, so just because we're going over time here, I'm sorry we're going late. We're getting a little slap happy. At length, you can explain your current understanding of events, Venali to Nola, and she will stand there, head up, listen to all of it. You see no reaction from her. She makes no comment, and there's like a couple of heavy beats of silence after you finish, where then she will just say, "And can I go now?"
Of course.
Okay.
Never were. There was always an option for you to do.
That she will turn and run away,
Bye.
leaving you
It was
guys.
a pleasure meeting you. That's not in character, by the way.
Okay. It could be for Conry.
Yeah.
He has like a traumatic brain injury. It could totally be in character.
I'm thinking Connery is like the happy puppy.
That could be. That's true. All right, fine. Put that in character for Conry. Just waving. Bye.
Okay, but you guys are alone in the grove now, in your grove that you have claimed.
Oh.
For the moment, you are not in any immediate danger. However, you didn't even have to be told, Mitty. You know very well that, like as not, there will be more grove tenders and probably stronger ones that will respond to this declaration of war.
Yeah. I had a feeling this was gonna happen.
So, with your experience, you would gauge that probably not the safest for you guys to remain in the cradle, or at the very least be seen in the cradle.
Well then, I guess we go to Scorn?
Well, it's one way to keep moving forward.
Moving
We
right.
can at least stop one war from happening.
They really don't know how much we do for them, do they?
In time. In time.
In time, they will come to understand our failings.
Yeah, as you guys start to get ready to leave, Mish will come back to consciousness.
Mitty will pull her by the armpits onto her feet. Come on, Mish, we're going.
What happened? I was chasing a dark, scary abyss, and then it spat me back out.
You ate a soul and lost conscious.
I did what now?
I said you ate a soul and lost consciousness.
I don't remember doing that. You're lying to me.
Well, I mean, I'm not lying.
Of course you wouldn't remember. You were unconscious.
I'm maybe,
He is very technically telling the truth.
yeah.
I don't remember doing that.
Maybe you need to get looked at. That's not good to be passing out after you eat.
Like, Mish will just tilt her head to the side.
We sure we brought Mish back and not a demon? When we, left Pandemonium?
You mean, you sure we didn't leave one down there and bring another one up?
I resent that.
Well, don't go eating soul.
I didn't.
You did.
I exercised it.
No, you devoured it.
No.